11th or
12:20.
12th or something. And we're back with story time. If it's the 12th of Christmas, that means that Christmas is, oh golly, just around the corner, doesn't it? I'm very, very excited about Christmas this year. I don't know why, but I just am very excited about Christmas. And I'm here in New York City with my daughter and with my grandson. And they may be, you never know, they may be popping in and out this morning. We don't know yet. We're not quite sure. Okay, so first of all, before I begin, I'd like to say good morning to Grey Eagle, who is as always by my right side. And I would like to say good morning, Chris. Good morning to you, Chris.
Good morning, everyone.
She does such a great job, don't you think? She's always there, always on time. If I am upside down today, could you let us know? Because we don't know. You see, I was upside down on Thursday morning, but to me, looking at myself in the camera, and to Chris looking at me, we were both the right way up, right, Chris? We were.
Yes.
We were perfectly unaware of the fact that I was in Australia or standing on my head, whichever. I think I could be in Australia quicker than I could stand on my head, actually. You know, my way of doing things. So before I begin the story, I would just like to talk a little bit about the things that mediums are supposed to do, the things that mediums are not supposed to do. Well, I'm not sure if are there any rules, and if there are rules, I think each medium makes up their own rules in their own way and in their own time. But one of the questions I'm often asked, and which a lot of people will scoff at, is the idea of seeing the future. And I know we've talked about this before a little bit, but I thought, wouldn't it be good to, from time to time, have a story which will maybe tell us whether or not we can see into the future. And I've got a little visitor coming in. Good morning, my darling. Are you coming in? Oh, he's getting his cushions ready. Say good morning, everybody. Good morning. What are you doing? Stop hiding. And I thought, sometimes we're asked as mediums, can we actually see into the future? Is it really true? But what of people who are not mediums? What of people who perhaps don't have that ability? So I thought I'd tell you a story. We're going back years and years now. And this story is about Reese's mama. And you love stories about your mama, don't you? Right? Yeah. So, okay. So when Samantha was probably, I'm going to say maybe 10 or 12 years old, she might have even been a little bit younger. I had a car that was, let's say, a bit of a wreck. It was forever breaking down. But I also had good friends who were forever putting it back together for me and connecting it together. You can hear a weird noise in the background. It's the pipes going, making weird noises. Okay, so I had a car that was, you couldn't actually say that it was reliable. Anyway, this particular weekend, I had a very old friend, a very dear friend, whose son I was very fond of and had watched him growing up. And it was going to be his 21st birthday party, so they invited me to come to this party. It happened that they lived in Leicestershire, which is in England, and my sister also lived in Leicestershire. So what I did was I drove down, quite a long drive actually, a couple of hours. I drove down to my sister's, dropped my daughter off at my sister's house, made sure that she was, comfortable, okay, had been fed, all of those things. And then at some point I got ready and was going off to the party to see my friends. And so did I start this story with Once Upon a Time? I can't remember, but anyway, let's pretend that I said Once Upon a Time, because as we all know, all good stories start with Once Upon a Time. So there I was about, once upon a time, I was about to go to a party, and I was about to leave my daughter with my sister and her son, and that was okay, no issues there. I had my hand on the door handle, ready to leave for the party, when my daughter, all of whatever she was, at least 10 years, maybe, she was maybe a bit younger, so thereabouts anyway, looked at me and she said, "Mummy, don't go, don't go. I can see your car. It's broken down at the traffic lights. You shouldn't go." And I said, because I was rushing and racing and wanting to get to the party, I said, "Oh, don't say that to me, don't say that to me," as if that might stop anything from happening, right? "Don't say that to me, don't say that to me. Oh, no, 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 no." And I rushed out of the door, got in my car, drove into the middle of Leicester City, which is a very busy city, and it was a Saturday night, and people were coming home from work and people were coming home from shopping, and it was dark, although the city lights were very bright. I'm driving along and I'm fine and everything is fine, and I come to a traffic lights right smack in the middle of the center of the city, where there's major traffic, right? And the traffic lights turn red. I stop, I put my foot on the brake, I feel this hot water stream all over my foot, and the car won't start, and the traffic lights change green, and I still can't get the car to start. And now everybody's honking and banging their horns and doing all that sort of stuff, and the car still won't start. So I got out of the car, and luckily a couple of guys came and helped me to push the car to the side of the road so that people could get by and go through the traffic lights. "Don't go, Mummy, don't go, Mummy. I can see you broken down at the traffic lights." I mean, she's 10 years old. How can that be? How could she possibly have seen that? How could I have possibly maneuvered that or managed? I mean, the last thing I would have wanted to have done is to, break down at the traffic lights. But there are people who say, "Oh, well, we make people tell you something about the future. We make it happen." I can assure you this is not something that I made happen, and I can assure you it's not something that my daughter made happen. So there I am. I know you want to hear the rest of this story. So now here I am, and I'm stuck. And it was in the days before cell phones. Can any of you remember those days? Am I the oldest one in this room of ours? It was in the days before cell phones. And luckily, fortunately, I spied across the street, in a very busy street, and all the way across the street, I spied a phone box. So I grabbed my bag, I took my keys out of the car, and I went across to the phone box, and I was praying and praying I'd have coins for the phone box. And I managed to get into the phone box, and I had no coins, so I had to make a collect call to, I don't even remember if I made a collect call to my sister or if I made a collect call to the friends whose party I was going to go to. But anyway, I made a collect call. But as I am there trying to sort all of this out, I'm a young woman on my own. So my car is broken down. I have no money to get it fixed. I have no money for someone to come in. And there wasn't, we didn't, well, if we did have AA and AAA and all of those things that we have now, so I certainly couldn't possibly have afforded it. So I was literally stranded. And as I'm in the phone box, all of a sudden, a whole group of beautiful people, I don't know if, again, I'm going back many, many years to the Krishnas, to the Hare Krishnas, people who were members of the Hare Krishna, you could maybe call it a cult or a sect or whatever it was. They wore robes, white robes and then a brown robe on top of, and they would go through the streets and try to spread the word of whatever the word was for them. Well, they saw me in this phone box and they decided that they should keep going around and around the outside of the phone box, chanting to me, at me, I wasn't really sure. And they were chanting the Krishna, Hare Krishna, that sort of thing. Hey, hey, hey. And I'm thinking, oh, I was in tears nearly. I needed help to get my car on the road. These people were just singing around me. Very nice of them, of course. I finally, and I can't even remember, so long ago, I can't even remember how I managed to, somebody must have come and towed the car and somebody must have come to fix it. And I ended up finally managing to get to the party where the young man Richard, who is perhaps not such a young man anymore, but the young man Richard was celebrating his 21st birthday party. And I was staying at his home with his parents, who were friends of mine, Marjorie and Roger. So I'm saying a shout out to them. If you happen by some real fluke to be watching this, I do say hello and I do say I love you. But let's get back to it again. Let's get back to the reason why I am telling this story. Is it possible to see the future? Now, I have trillions perhaps of stories about seeing the future. I have so many times when my grandson Reese has told things about the future. It seems to run in the family. My daughter has seen many things about the future for me. And in fact, sometimes she's wagged her finger and warned me, maybe against a potential boyfriend, or maybe against doing something potentially that was harmful to me. I think we, all of us, if we pay attention to our senses, to our sensitivity, we're all able to, in some way or another, see certain things about the future. But some of us can see them as clearly as if they're happening in front of us. And that was my daughter. I can see you in your car, broken down at the traffic lights, not on the road, not at the side of the road, broken down at the traffic lights. And how foolish of me to ignore something like that. But just because I know better doesn't mean that I do better. Just because I know better and I know I should listen when my daughter says something to me, or just because I know I should listen when Reese says something to me, doesn't mean that I always pay attention. And I think that's with all of us, with so many of us, we hear that little voice in our head telling us this, that, or the other thing. We don't listen, do we? And when we don't listen, or we don't pay attention to our intuition, that's the time when we can really kick ourselves and wish that we in fact had listened, and where we wish that we had taken notice. So I suppose my story is a little heads up for all of you who do have that intuition. Just pay attention, and for people like myself, a reminder that if I'm not going to listen, well, then there are consequences. And the consequence of my story was I had to listen to the Krishnas. I had to wait for ages by the side of the road. I had to be embarrassed because people were pushing this. It wasn't a piece of junk, but it was almost like a piece of junk. But it was the only thing that I could afford at the time. I know some of you are thinking, wait a minute, wasn't Rosemary born with a silver spoon in her mouth? Wasn't she? Oh, no, Rosemary, doesn't she drive a Mercedes or a Rolls Royce, or doesn't she drive a super duper, a Jaguar maybe? No, actually no. And for those of you wondering, well, I never thought that she was in the position of driving a junk car. I can tell you so many stories of so many times that I've broken down over the years in a junk car because couldn't afford to do anything but. This particular car that I'm telling you about was so funny because if you had a passenger in the car and the passenger car door had been opened, the passenger had to hold tight to the door to keep it closed to stop the alarm going off. And if you didn't hold the door tight enough, as you're driving along the road, the alarm would keep going and going and going on the car. A wonderful little car it was. What can I tell you? Anyway, that is my story. It's about the future. Can we see into the future? And obviously, my daughter could see into the future in that moment. That doesn't mean she sees everything about the future. And there are those of you who are listening who can see certain things about the future. You just know that something's going to happen, don't you? Or you know that someone's going to come into your life, or you know that if you turn around that corner, you'll see a friend you've not seen in the last 10 years or something. We have a knowing sense, so we need to pay attention to that. As you can see, I did not pay attention to my daughter, and I've learned my lesson. She's walking by, she's giving me a, what? You never listen to me, is that right, Samantha?
Yes, I don't know that you've learned your lesson.
See? I don't know if you heard that. She doesn't know if I've learned my lesson. And that is the end. All right, Chris, did you enjoy that story?
Oh, I especially chuckled with Samantha's comment.
Yeah.
Everyone's been so kind this morning to let us know that you are right side up and that the voice is right and everything's working great. We're continuing to cross our fingers.
Brilliant. We really do not have the amount of control we'd like to have, do we? So we just have to keep our fingers crossed. And I do thank all of you for responding and letting us know. And I do thank you all for joining us. So, Chris, let's go. Any more comments? Any more questions? Let's go now.
A few. Mark is saying, with regard to your comment about being around before cell phones, I tell many that I was born long, long before the internet and their mouths dropped to their toes.
Yeah, well, there was no internet when I was born either. So I'm with you. I'm in your camp, Mark.
Okay, I'm going to scroll right back up to the top. Michael was first in this morning. And Michael's saying, hello, Rosemary. You are a jewel to the world. I saw you on a clip from the Lisa Gibbons show from many years ago. And you said to one of the guests that the work you do is bigger than just talking to the dead. I realized that TV appearance was many years ago, and I know you probably have no idea what you were referencing in that moment.
I do.
But can you elaborate on this concept, please?
Yes, I can, Michael. Thank you for that. And I hope you enjoyed the Lisa Gibbons show. I was on the Lisa Gibbons show many times. And in fact, if you go to my web page, there is a video of me on the Lisa Gibbons show, but you can also go on YouTube and find them as well. When I say, and I've often said it, Michael, when I say that my work is bigger than just, when I say just talking to the dead, let me tell you, there's no just about it. When I say my work is bigger than talking to the dead, wider than talking to the dead, I mean, for instance, the webinar that we're doing this in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking to angels. I have a suspicion that we're going to be talking to one beautiful, beautiful earth angel. Because just this morning we got permission from his mother, who is also going to be joining us on the webinar. Exciting news. That there is so much more than to this than speaking to those who have passed in the spirit world, because we do healing, and I am a healer, or I'm able to give healing, of course, through that higher power, that higher source, and so healing is sort of encompasses so many things. I'm able to, talking with Grey Eagle, I'm able to learn so much wisdom and so many wise things he teaches us, which is also another exciting reason that I'm looking forward to our webinar, because Grey Eagle will be actually, for the first time ever publicly, will actually be speaking to us. And so if you've never heard, let's say, a spirit guide or a wise and beautiful and incredible spiritual entity speaking, you'll be blown away by this, because the wisdom and the wise words and the gentleness of Grey Eagle will come through very, very clearly. People have been asking me when I've been talking about the fact that Grey Eagle is coming with us and actually taking center stage from time to time through the webinar. People are asking me, well, what is the difference, Rosemary, between you, saying, well, Grey Eagle has told me this, that, and the other, and him speaking? He will, I'm sure, be using well, not actually that sure, because, well, never mind. He will probably be using my voice box. So it will seem, unless you are paying attention, it will seem to some of you as if I am talking. But when you listen, you will hear the difference between the way that he speaks, his inflections, his beautiful way of speaking, the tone of what he says. There'll be so many differences. So through me, he will use me, but instead of, for instance, when we're on this show and I say to you, well, Grey Eagle is telling me this, that, and the other, I'm repeating as clearly as I can what he's saying to me. But of course, from time to time, I'm going to put my own interpretation on, because we're having this conversation back and forth. But when you hear Grey Eagle speak, there'll be no me. There'll be nothing from me. It will not be my interpretation you will hear of what he says. It will be purely his words. No interpretation, no conversation between us. I will be, if you like, sort of standing back, standing to the side, and allowing him, using my physical body, using my voice box, using all of that. But I will be standing to the side, willingly standing to the side and allowing him. And you will hear his words, his inflections, exactly as he says them, exactly as he wants you to hear them. And you will also, hopefully, you will also hear his wisdom. And I think that because certainly I'm hoping that we shall have, again, on this webinar, it is, if you go to the, my web page, you'll see that it's advertised about angels, talking to angels, or talking about angels. And we will be talking about angels, and we will be discussing the different ways that angels can help us and the different types of angels that there are. But unexpectedly on Thursday morning, Grey Eagle said to me, and I will be there and I will be speaking. The book that so many of you asked about, when is it coming out, Grey Eagle Speaks, is a collection, a whole collection of conversations that I've had with him, when I've had somebody else there as well. So many people have helped me with this book. So many people have sat and transcribed things that he's said, because when he's speaking, I'm not able to speak. I'm not able to communicate. So we're not having a three-way conversation if somebody else is there. So what we need is somebody else to transcribe as Grey Eagle is speaking. And so we've got lots of transcriptions, and I'm compiling this book, but I've never quite felt that it was the right time, or that it, for some reason or another, this is such a precious book and such a beautiful book, because when you are talking to, or listening to, or hearing from a highly evolved spiritual entity, it is something remarkable and special. And so I've always felt there had to be this right time. Well, apparently Grey Eagle has picked this right time. Chris and I had no idea. When I said to her, let's do an angel seminar, let's talk about angels, I just thought I would be talking about angels, not necessarily two angels, but I suspect that we might have one or two angels making an appearance, but I can't guarantee it. I don't know if that's going to be, but I am hoping that we have an earth angel who has recently passed, who will keeping my fingers crossed here, who will be talking to us. And I do feel that one reason why Gregor will be there with us is because he will be helping this young man to speak, not just to all of us, but perhaps to his mother and his uncle as well. So it's an exciting show. So when I say, Michael, don't think I've gone off topic here. When I say to you, there's much more than just, giving messages from the dead, so to speak, giving messages from the spirit world. You can see I've already described so many more things. And let me tell you that what I've said to you, and I've sort of enlarged a little bit on why I said there's more to this than just simply giving messages from the spirit world. You can see what I've told you is only the tip of an iceberg of what we can do, what we will do, and what I'm going to hopefully be showing you through these webinars. Chris, I feel as if I've been talking forever. Sorry.
Can I put in a little plug here, Rosemary?
Well, go for it. Yes.
So I just want to relay to everyone who will be listening to this video how absolutely different this has been. I've been with Rosemary for over 20 years, and I have never had this privilege of Gray Eagles stepping in and giving us a message in this way. It's different than has ever happened in a public manner. It's been small groups, as Rosemary has said, but never in a public forum. So you have no idea how special and exclusive this is going to be. So I would share. I would buy Christmas gifts if you want anybody to be touched this Christmas. This is the one to sign up for. Okay. So there I go.
Are you done with your plug?
Yes, I am. Good. But I'm just as excited as you, I think, Rosemary. I can't wait.
You know that I hate selling anything. And but at the same time, I just want everyone to be as excited about this as I am, because this really is it's going to be a very exciting and I think a very different experience for so many people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. You ready for the next question?
Yes.
Okay. Albertine is on.
Good morning, Albertine.
Hello, Rosemary. 2 girlfriends of 8 years old are bullied at their school. Oh. They told me, and there was no smile in their face. Can you help? What can they do? And hello to Reese.
Oh, thank you. What can you do about bullying? I had an occasion just yesterday to witness bullying, and I stood up and said, no, that is not going to happen in my presence. You don't do that. That is not the right thing to do. I think that Albertine, if you have any sway with these girls' parents, you might want to talk to the parents about going to the school. The girls themselves, if they're 8 years old, it's very difficult for an 8-year-old to stand up for themselves. But the only way that any of us is going to deal with bullying is to have the courage to say, you're a bully, don't do that. Stop bullying me, don't do that. And stand up to the bully. Usually when we stand up to bullies, they back down. And in my case yesterday, the bully, first of all, pretended that he didn't hear me. And then when I said it again so that he could hear me, he backed down. Usually bullies back down. But I think that someone, and if it's you, Albertine, or if it's the parents of the children, whoever it is, I think that someone needs to be told that this bullying is happening and it needs to stop. The only way we can, to fight bullies is to face our fear and to say, even if you're trembling in your boots, no, that is not happening. And if we could all say that, and if we could teach our children to say that, if Reese came home and told me that he was being bullied, well, aside from trying to hold me back, because I would be down there straight away, but my advice to Reese would be to say, you are a bully, do not bully me. Now, he might suffer the consequences. Someone might, give him a thump on the nose or something. But whatever, if you tolerate bullying or if you put up with bullying, it's never going to stop and it's going to continue. And so you've got to, it's hard, very hard for children, but you've got to stand up, and we have to teach our children to be brave enough to stand up and say no. Keep going, Chris.
Mark said, alluding to earlier, you are right side up and just adorable. And you inspire your followers with renewed hope and forever grateful for your benevolent guidance.
Oh, Mark, that's so sweet of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
RT says, good morning, all.
Good morning.
Thank you for your time. Would you and Gray Eagle please have any message on my moving house? Happy Christmas, Rosemary.
Well, thank you, and happy Christmas to you too. Happy holidays to all of you out there, whichever holiday you are celebrating. The message from Grey Eagle is just keep going, continue on, keep going. It will work out smoothly. There'll be a few hiccups in the beginning, but just keep going. Do what you need to do. I hope you understand that message, because I have no idea what it means. Chris.
Hold on one sec, Rosemary. The computer's moving slightly slow here, a little bit of a lag.
Yeah, we have to understand that when Chris is doing all of this, it's the scrolling up and down and missing. We try not to miss people, but if we do miss you, it's because we're not superhuman, just so you know. We can only do the best that we can do. Okay, Chris.
Caddy says, what intuition your daughter had.
Yes. How amazing is that? And there are so many times that she said things to me over the years, and maybe sort of in the new year I'll tell you about my grandson Reese, who is also doing the same thing. So it obviously runs in the family, how strongly or otherwise. It depends. And sometimes when Samantha senses these things, it's really, really strong, and she feels very, she feels it's very important to really make it clear. Look, this is what I feel. This is what I know. But other times it's just sort of like, it's almost like a little tickle at the back of your head, or a little ticklish thought somewhere in there that you're not sure whether it's you should take it seriously or not. But when you know, and I think that we all of us have that ability to some degree or another.
Michael says Samantha must have tapped into the Akashic records to see the fate of the car.
Well, I don't know about that. I think I think sometimes you just have to reach out into the universe, and you just there is someone there for all of us. With my daughter, my father, her silly grandpa, takes care of her and watches over her. And I'm pretty sure that he's able to tap her on the shoulder and give her information from time to time. And she has seen him. Oh, that's a story for another day too. So moving on, Chris. I know I'm teasing you all, aren't I? With all of these little tiny tidbits of stories that are coming. Yes, Chris.
Betta says, good Saturday, everybody.
Good morning, Betta.
4 days ago was the 25th anniversary since my beloved grandmother passed. I thought of her so much. Who knows if today she is around and has a message?
Oh, Betta. Well, you know that she's around you, that you know that the connection between you is such a very strong one. And you also know that whenever you need her, she's going to be there for you. And it's somebody's birthday, apparently, coming up very, very soon. I always question when I say that, because it might be that it's a birthday that just was yesterday or the day before, or it's coming up in the next 2 or 3 days, and I'm never quite sure. But I have this lovely lady here with you, Betta, saying happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. So to whoever it is she's wishing a happy birthday, can you pass those wishes on? I hope you understand what I'm saying to you. Keep going, Chris.
RT says, can Rosemary give me any tips on which area spiritually to work on at this time? My mother used to drive a Rodney Trotter, bright yellow, three-wheeler with no back seat.
Wow. I don't know what a trotter is, but it sounds like an amazing vehicle, I have to tell you. I'm not quite sure why you told me that little tidbit, but it sounds like a fun vehicle. Yes, you know, I might have said this before, and I might have said this to you before, but the energy that is around you and that surrounds you is so incredibly beautifully blue, blue. And when Chris was reading out your question, you know, I'm sure you know this. You must know this, that you should work on your abilities to heal, to give healing, first of all to yourself, please, and then to others. But I'm sure you must know. So if you don't, you need to be aware of it. But if you do, which I think you do, you need to sort of continue that and continue on with it, because I think this will be where you find your fulfillment spiritually. Yes, Chris.
Janet said, will it ever be found out what's wrong with my shoulder/arm? It's hurt for months. I've gone to the physio with no help.
Well, Janet, I don't know if we have your last name, not that we really need it, but we're going to put you in our healing book, and I'd like you to just let us know from time to time over the next few weeks as to how you're feeling and you know what is going on with you. But we certainly will put you in our healing prayers, and I personally will be, even as I'm talking to you now, I'm sending a little zap to your shoulder area. Yes, Chris.
Maggie says, Samantha, our children will remind us when we don't listen. So that was a comment from earlier.
Thank you for that, Maggie. My daughter has no problems whatsoever in reminding me when I don't listen. She's my toughest taskmaster, but I trust her completely to always have the right reasons for putting me to task when she needs to. Yes, Chris, keep going.
Jude Rainbow Star says, I feel like the future isn't set, that there are limitless potential futures, and the choices we make in the present determine what future we manifest. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely right, Jude. Absolutely right. Good morning to you. Yes, there are so many, excuse me, there are so many things in life that we are meant to encounter, things that have been decided for us or by us from our previous decisions. So there are so many things that we're meant to encounter on life's journey. But there are also, Jude, and I agree with you, there are so many things that we have the opportunity to make a decision about ourselves, our own selves. And sometimes the decisions that we make lead us to the inevitable conclusions. But, you know, the more I learn about all of this, the more I encounter about all of this, the more I realize that we really don't have too much say over the future. What we have say over is our attitude, and the attitude that we take when things happen to us or when things actually don't happen to us. And it's our attitude that very often determines what comes next and how it comes next. And our attitude, if we take the opportunities that are given to us and we take those opportunities positively, we can in fact make our future really, really brilliant. However, there are certain things that are inevitable. My breaking down in the car was obviously inevitable because, you know, you're going to break down in your car. Yes, that's fine. We know that because it was a really crummy car. But I see you breaking down at the traffic lights. very specific, very clear, and there are certain things that are meant to happen to us. So there we have it. So I agree with you, Jude. Yes, Chris.
Mark is hoping that Gray Eagle can tell him who this was. So the story.
Okay.
The situation happened in 2009, on December 24th. I was in the middle of a blizzard near 10:20 p.m. I missed the ramp exit I needed to get to and realized it. My SUV stopped and I went to get in reverse and ended up in a wet, deep slush and snow. I tried many ways to get out of the rut. Listening to holiday music, I panicked a little and I put my head to the steering wheel and asked God to help me. I sensed to try again and put it in reverse. Suddenly, I felt my SUV literally lift up and begin going backwards until I saw the ramp. I put my car in drive and zoomed to my home destination. Who was this?
Well, obviously, your guardian angels. Now, I've heard this story because Mark actually wrote and told me this story, and I think it's a phenomenal story. Sometimes we never know who it is. Sometimes we never understand who is around us, but isn't it marvelous, and isn't it just something that we need to do to just accept that there are those people around us and we do have that help and that guidance. So Mark, I don't know. You figure, why don't you figure it out? But I love the story. I really, really love the story. Yes, Chris.
Maggie says, I'm excited, Gray Eagle, and I will be a quiet, maybe, mouse in the corner listening.
No, you won't, Maggie. We want you to participate. This webinar is going to be 3 hours long. We will take a 15-minute break in between, I promise. So you'll all be able to go pee or get a sandwich or get a drink or whatever. But it's going to be a very exciting 3 hours. It seems like a long time to be on air, but I think there'll be so much going on and so much that's going on that's interesting. I think it'll fly by. The time will fly by. And I'd rather you weren't a little mouse in the corner, Maggie. And anyway, you're not a little mouse, are you really? I would rather you were participating and enjoying along with the rest of us. Chris.
Suzanne says, I love your down-to-earth being, Rosemary. Loving this story. I didn't really have a question in particular, but is there some message for me?
There isn't right now, but I'm so glad that you're listening. I'm so glad that you're here with us. And the thing, and I'm so thrilled with what you just said to me, because the thing I try to do more than anything else, the things I try to do is to actually don't disappear on me for a minute. Talking to my daughter, the thing I like to do is to actually be that down-to-earth, sensible, feet on the ground kind of person, because that's my way of figuring out what is real and what is not real. Give me 1 second, everybody. There's where all my stuff is, go underneath. You'll see some stuff under there. Just take a couple of. Do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
I'm just getting cookies.
Say goodbye. Bye. They're going shopping. Have a kiss. I love you. You won't kiss me on the lips, really, because it's lipstick. More. I love you more. More. Bye. Bye. Sorry, Chris.
Oh,
Right,
never be
let's go.
sorry about that. That's too precious.
Okay.
Dee's very excited and wrote a comment. You will be the physical vehicle for his voice.
Who is this?
This is Dee.
Yes. Because I am. Because that's what I do. Don't be so shocked, Dee. Don't be so surprised. I will be the physical vehicle for Grey Eagle's voice when we do rescue work, when we do trance work, sometimes when we do healing. There are many, many, many times that I am the physical vehicle for Grey Eagle, for his work, for his voice, for his energy, for everything that is about him. And for the first time publicly ever, I can't believe this because we've been doing this for so many years. And in classroom situations and with students, he has spoken like this before. And in certain times when we've been trying to, if I've been trying to understand something, maybe a friend or a student will act as the person who can transcribe, because when this is happening, of course, that can't really interfere with what is going on. I will not be going into a trance state, just so you know, because some people think that you have to go into a trance state. What will happen is the inner me, I know it's weird, isn't that weird? I will step to one side. It's almost like, sort of moving over, and I will allow Grey Eagle room to use my physical body and my voice box. And in that way, apparently this is what he tells me is going to happen. He has one question that he's promised to answer in this way. I don't know how many of those questions he will answer, but there is one particular question that he will answer in this way. And I also think that he will be there for our beautiful Earth Angel Tomas. So are you excited? So you better go to the website, or Chris, did you put the link up for
I
the
did in the
webinar?
beginning, and I will again at the end.
Okay, but if you're struggling or you don't know where to find it, everybody, just go to my website, rosemaryaltea.com. It's all one word, and it'll take you right there. There'll be a button that you can subscribe. You don't have to pay anything. You will not be inundated. I promise you, you will not be inundated with emails every day either. But from time to time, if you subscribe, we'll let you know what's going on and what's coming, new, what's coming in. For instance, January and February, we're doing a great thing in February for our, well, it's Valentine's, isn't it? So we're doing our soul signs relationships webinars then. But going back to this webinar, yes, Greg will use my body, and I will be a vehicle, as I have been so many times. Yes, it should be interesting. I'm so excited about it. So anyway, Chris.
There's so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
All right, Jackie's saying, could my dad be my angel?
Oh, absolutely. Our loved ones in the spirit world, Jackie, they will often say, tell her I'm her angel. There's a difference between, and this is another thing we'll be talking about in the webinar, there's a difference between our loved ones being our angels, guiding and steering us and so on, than those very particular higher spiritual beings who are messengers from God. But yes, our loved ones in the spirit world desperately want to be our angels. They desperately want to be the ones who stand by our side, who whisper in our ear. So yes, and I'm just checking in with Grey Eagle to let you know, absolutely and without a doubt, your dad is your angel. How nice for you. Wow. There you go. Chris.
RT saying, I can't wait to read your Grey Eagles book.
No.
Mark saying, I have asked my personal angel, my brother G, to be present with us on December 19th. I may be prompted to sing angel songs, so wear earplugs.
Do we have any angel songs? I'm not sure, Chris.
Oh, I think of angels we have heard on high.
Oh, okay. All
you know,
right.
the things that I would sing in choir.
Don't get me started. You know how much I love to sing.
Maybe that's why I am.
Okay, keep going.
Michael's saying, yes, I enjoyed all your Lisa Gibbon appearances. You are a huge blessing to those people.
Thank you.
Cheryl's saying, crazy question, but is there food and cooking on the other side? I hope so.
Do you know, it's not such a crazy question, but let me see, how can I answer this? Do we still retain our taste buds? Do we still retain our ability to use our five senses? And in fact, with my students right now, we're at the point of we've been working with our five senses, making them acute to the point of them connecting all five senses together, which is then the sixth sense. Yes, we do retain a lot of that. We do retain our sense of taste and so on and so forth, but I'm not sure if we taste vicariously through others. Um, I've never seen it. I'm not going to say no, there are no kitchens in the spirit world. Regal's laughing at me. I've never seen anyone cooking up a storm in the kitchen in the spirit world. That doesn't mean that maybe one day I'll be surprised. But there are lots of different ways of cooking, you know. You don't necessarily have to cook something in a physical sense. If you can describe it to someone, it's so funny because every time we watch a cooking show on the TV, Reese will say to me, Mosey, it's making me really hungry. So just the thought of it or the sight of it or the image of it can actually, you know, create those senses of maybe you're eating something or just having the experience of them. Yes, Chris. And it's not a crazy question, by the way. Yes, Chris.
Albertine is responding back to you saying, I will tell the girls your tip. Thank you also for your stories. And Maggie saying, my daughter was bullied and I gave her the same advice. The girls mocked her and then I told her to go to the teacher. There was no help. Then to the office, no help.
Yeah, sometimes it takes an adult, which is why, Albertine, I said to you, if you can talk to the girls' parents and let them know what they've told you, and or you yourself, if it were me, I'd be marching down to that school and having a quiet word with the principal, and then if nothing happened, I would have a less quiet word, and then if still nothing happened, I'd create a storm. We can't have bullying. We have to stand up to it. Yes.
Bonnie saying, I'm worried about my sister's health. Can you tell me anything about her?
Well, I can tell you, my darling, that we're very, very happy to put her on our healing list. And if you you know, you can do one or two things. You can write to us. You can email me, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, or you can write to Chris, because she's the one who deals with all the emails, Chris at rosemaryaltea.com. You know, explain the circumstances, and we certainly will put your sister on our healing list. But if I can just say, in this particular circumstance, and as Gregor has put his hand on my shoulder, I'm listening attentively to what he's saying. Very often emotional stresses and strains can cause physical problems, and I think this is, you know, perhaps what is going on with your sister. Chris.
Judith says, my sister is finally home from the hospital and is receiving various therapies at home. Do you see how her healing will go for her? I love her and I am concerned for her. Thank you.
Let's put her on the healing list. And for all of you, I'm saying this to, please keep us posted on the progress. So much depends on how much the patient wants to recover. So much depends on the patient's state of mind. So much depends on the patient's willingness to be good patients. And I think, Judith, your sister might not always be a good patient, and I love that fact, because it means that she's also a fighter, even though she might not seem to be. So there are lots of things that you know, we can do to help ourselves, and that's what we must do. But let's wait and see. We'll put her on the healing list, and please, you know, just email us from time to time, and please give us an update on how she's doing. Chris.
All right, we have 5 minutes left, Rosemary.
Okay.
Janet saying, thank you, Rosemary. I so appreciate you putting me on the healing list and sending healing energy to me. God bless.
You're very welcome. And anybody, you know, anybody out there, if you yourself would like healing, or if you know of someone who would like healing, please, you know, just let us know. And again, email Chris at rosemaryaltea.com. Chris is KR chris@rosemaryaltea.com, or you can write the email straight to the office, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. We'll get it either way. And if you'd like to put, healing in the subject line, that just helps Chris to sort it out quicker and easier. The same with if you would like to know more about the books that we have, or the more about our webinars and so on and so forth. If you've got a question, if you can put the topic of the question in the subject line, it really helps us to sort things out. You will also find a lot of information on our website that and it's just a fun place to go to, because we have some little videos there, we have some insights in there, we have all sorts of things going on the website. And again, if you would click, when you go into the website, if you click subscribe, it means basically that gives us permission to just let you know if a new webinar is coming out, or if a new book is coming out, or if we're going to do perhaps something else, maybe a session of healing, or whatever it is. We might, I don't know if this is going to be possible, by the way, but we might be doing more sessions with Grey Eagle, which will be termed Grey Eagle Speaks. So, if you go to the website and you subscribe, you'll hear when things happen. We'll just send you an email. But I promise you, you will not be inundated by those emails. Yes, Chris?
Sandy says, a few weeks ago, a new dog came into my life and stole my heart. She came in as a medical foster and was such a tiny skeleton who stole my heart. You told me a month ago that I would have a new pup that needed me soon, and you were so right. I have decided to adopt her and hope all will work out. Thank you.
Oh, I love that story. I love that story. And for all of you out there who've been sending healing to my little puppy, Cachorro, I'm not quite sure where he is. I think he's in his bed. He tries to get out of the way of Reese. When my grandson is a little bit noisy, you see Cachorro sort of like sneaking off. But thank you, all of you, for your prayers. He is a little better. He's not so good yesterday again. He's up and down. But he's 14 years old, so we're just taking the best care of him that we possibly can. He is eating again somewhat, not as much as he usually is, but he's eating again. So, so we're just loving him, and that's all we can do right now. And I'm thrilled to bits for your new little puppy, my darling. How lovely for you. And just for a heads up, Chris has got Moonlight in her house, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
She's got a new little tiny kitten, little white fluffy ball of fluff, beautiful little kitten. She's called Moonlight
Graham. Yeah.
All right. Well, I love the name Moonlight. I think it's beautiful. So for all of you out there who have your pets, and for all of you thinking about getting a pet for Christmas, or you're thinking about getting a pet for your children or your grandchildren for Christmas, please do be responsible about that, and make sure that the person who you're looking to give the gift of a pet to, they really do want the gift, and they really are going to be responsible for the animal, because so many people give gifts at Christmas of dogs and cats and different pets, and so many of them return them or leave them out for strays or whatever it is after Christmas time. So please be responsible in that regard. Yes, Chris, anything else going on?
Oh, there's still more questions, but it is noon, Rosemary, so
Okay.
really up to you. I know you have a lot of things you have to do this afternoon.
Well, we are having a tree trimming. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can show you the tree. Let me see. Just put it up yesterday. No, I'm going the wrong way. Well, am I going the wrong way? There it is. Look, can you see the tree?
Oh, it's
You can see
beautiful.
it's a gorgeous tree. All right, and so we're having a party this afternoon, which we always do. We always have a tree trimming party, and we invite friends along, and we have things like eggnog and stuff like that. And so we've got a few people coming over, and Reese is so excited, and we're still debating who gets to put the first ornament on the tree. And I've told him I'm the oldest, so I get to put the first ornament on the tree. However, I'm going to let him put the first ornament on the tree. I can see Chris has put up the link for the Eventbrite. So that if you do want tickets, you can click on that link or simply go to our website and click on the link on the website, and you'll be able to get tickets for our webinar. We would very much love it if you would share with all of your friends and with all of your friends on Facebook and so on. Please share this video, share the information that we get, because we are building and trying to get the word out that exciting things really are coming. Chris, anything else before we close?
1 week from today, just 1 week.
Yes. Is it next Saturday?
Yes.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So the webinar is, oh gosh, next Saturday. So we won't be here for story time next Saturday, but we will be here for the webinar, and we're excited. But we will see you the week after, will we? Or is
Well,
that
then
Christmas?
we have Christmas coming up, so I'm sure we'll let
Uh-oh.
people know. But don't forget your interview with Violet yesterday.
Oh, yes. If you want to go to, where have you put it, Chris? Facebook,
Yeah, it's
YouTube, and
exactly.
everywhere. You can see an interview that I did with Violet talking about the webinar and talking about some of the things that you might expect when you go to our webinar. So please check that out. You'll find it again on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. I'm all over the place there. So, but look for it, because it's a cute little video. Do I look as if I'm lying down in that video, Chris?
You do not. You look wonderful. Very elegant.
Yeah, well, okay then. But so enjoy that little snippet that we sent out. I think it's a 10-minute little interview that we have with my friend Violet, who's interviewing me for all of these webinars that we're doing. So please do check that out as well. That's it then. So, all right, let's do a tiny little bit of housekeeping. If you would like to book for the webinar, you can do it either through the link that Chris has put up there for you, or just click on that link and it will take you straight to the place where you can order your own tickets, and you'll find a link, and you'll be reminded just before, before we do the webinar, that the webinar is coming up. Or you can go to my Facebook page. Sorry, not my Facebook page, my web page, rosemaryaltea.com. If you need anything else from us, you can email rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com or chris@rosemaryaltea.com. Don't forget, it's Chris with a K, not with a C. So Chris K, you can go email any of us, every one of us, if you want to know more about our books, if you want to know more about how to book a consultation with me. I don't know. What else, Chris? I can't think of anything else. Can you think of anything else?
If anyone wants media, Rosemary on any of their shows, or you know anybody who wants to interview Rosemary, reach out.
She's doing it again, isn't she? Thank you, Chris, for promoting me.
I
do
want to
love you for
spread
this.
the word. You have so much to give, and people need to hear it.
Oh, thank you. In the meantime, everybody, please have a very, very blessed rest of the day. Have a wonderful and blessed weekend. We will be back on Thursday morning with our show, The Spirit World Sees All. And in the meantime, just start cooking. Christmas is coming. My cake is made. We're making, I think we're going to be making some ganache and some chocolate balls and things like that with Reese. That should be fun, because he'll be sticking up no end, full of chocolate everywhere. We'll try and restream that for you as well. And we'll be decorating the cake sometime in the next week also. So watch for those things, and get in the kitchen, all of you. Go on, get in the kitchen. Why don't you do that? Have a wonderful, whatever it is you're deciding to do, Christmas shopping or just hanging out watching Christmas movies. Have a very blessed rest of the weekend, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'd like to thank Grey Eagle. I'd like to thank Chris, but I'd especially like to thank all of you for just being so supportive and so lovely. And don't forget, I have to say again, share. Bye-bye, everybody.